Hey folks, how we doing today? It's me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel. And I was going to bring y'all a video yesterday of Maria Bartiromo. She does a show on Sunday mornings. And she had Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz on back-to-back on her show. And when she had Matt Gaetz on there were several things that were said that she was contesting. She actually ended up in an argument with Matt Gaetz a little bit. What she was doing is she was trying to defend Kevin McCarthy's record. And it was not going well for her when Matt Gaetz started laying out the truth of the situation, why he is so combative against Kevin McCarthy, especially over the promises Kevin McCarthy's made involving appropriation bills and things. What we've got right now is we have got an opportunity to try to hold the Democrats accountable with our spending of the purse, the budget, the allocations of 12 separate bills that should be presented as 12 separate bills. It should have already been built, negotiated, and ready to sign off on by the 30th of September. But because we are dealing with Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House, they've had 9 months and they have not made one effort to put all these bills into separate bills versus a omnibus package. You know what happens when we get an omnibus package and it is a have to spend spending bill because of government shutdown? They always pass it every time. They push the ball downfield a month or two with the CR, continued resolution, and they end up waiting until nobody's looking, and they slide that trillions through again. They've done it to us twice in a year. They do it to us every Christmas, and they try to do it to us around Thanksgiving every year as well. They just try to get that last-minute spending in every chance they get, and it's a bunch of bullshit. I'm glad to see Matt Gaetz is one of the few that's actually standing up. He's standing up even against Jim Jordan, Trump, Kevin McCarthy. Matt Gaetz cares more about the future of our country than anybody he works with feelings. And that alone makes me think he is probably, should be president someday. He's got the right intentions. He works real hard. And he doesn't mind fighting for what he believes in. And that's what this country needs. So when Trump gets done in 2028, hopefully he'll turn the reins over to Matt Gaetz. Because Matt Gaetz, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the greatest fighters we have, one of the biggest voices we have, one of the people that is actually standing up for we the people, making Kevin McCarthy having to answer for his wishy-washy threatening promise, which he never delivers on. So I'm glad Kevin McCarthy is getting his feet held to the fire a little bit by Matt Gaetz, and Maria Bartiromo, like I said, was really doing her best to try to defend Kevin McCarthy. And I'll play you a little bit of this video clip. This is the Sunday clip. And then I got a little tweet for you from Dan Bishop, who was in agreement. And then we'll get Maria Bartiromo's take on what she realized. She had a little bit of humility. She humbled herself because she heard Matt Gaetz' explanation of why he's so mad at Kevin McCarthy. And at first she didn't understand. But over the last 24 hours, Maria Bartiromo has stepped up and decided she wanted to even put a statement out about another statement out about it, saying basically, old dogs aren't too old to learn new tricks. Thank you for enlightening me, and now I see it your way. Seems like Maria Bartiromo is coming around to Matt Gaetz' way of thinking. When the interview started, I thought they were going to get into an argument. By today, Maria Bartiromo is 100% on board. Go figure. She thought Matt Gaetz was the combative one. Now she realizes McCarthy's the weak one. That's what everybody needed to hear, folks. I hope trillions of people heard that video yesterday. We'll go ahead and play you about a minute of it. Got a link in the description down below to this particular Gateway Pundit article, which has got 2 or 3 video clips on it and a little better explanation than what I could do for you here. But let's go ahead and listen to a little bit of Maria Bartiromo defending Kevin McCarthy.
Optimal, but I think it's better than continuing on the current path we are to America's financial ruin.
Congressman, I understand, and that is why you are on this program this morning, because I want to give you a fair shot and I want to get you heard. So tell me why you are threatening Speaker McCarthy and trying to shut down this government at a time that the Republicans have finally gotten some upper hands here in terms of wins, able to investigate President Biden on what looks like bribery.
Yeah, we don't put our pencils down in the investigation of President Biden during a shutdown, so the premise is false. Second, if Kevin McCarthy was actually serious about pursuing the Bidens, he would have sent Hunter Biden a subpoena by now. That's how you know this is sort of failure theater that you're observing. During the first year of Democrat control of the Congress, they brought in Donald Trump Jr. 3 times over nothing. Over a nothing burger. And so we seem to be fundamentally unserious in our oversight. But what is serious is the fact that we are spending more than $7 trillion a year, bringing in around $5 trillion a year. And I want to fund the government. I'm not pro-shutdown. But the way to fund the government is not the same way we've been doing it since the mid-90s, where it's one up or down vote on the entire government all at once. We should have separate single subject spending bills. Kevin McCarthy promised that in January. He is in breach of that promise. So I'm not here to hold the government hostage. I'm here to hold Kevin McCarthy to his word.
Are there Freedom Caucus members also out of compliance? They were also on the Appropriations Committee. Where is the responsibility for them? Are they also out of compliance?
No, I'm not a member of the Freedom Caucus. I'll let them speak for themselves. But take, for example, the border. This issue you think has great primacy, and I would agree with you. The Department of Homeland Security appropriations bill was passed out of the Appropriations Committee in June. And yet Kevin McCarthy hasn't put it on the floor in more than 100 days. That is not serious. You know why Kevin McCarthy didn't move our border appropriations bill? Because the lobbyists and the special interests who own Kevin McCarthy want to put us in this position where we're backed up against the wall, facing shutdown politics. And what that does is it centralizes power to the people that they buy off with PAC donations and lobbyist donations. And then the membership doesn't get to make real contributions to that process. I'm trying to democratize it.
The bills are being worked on. You just heard Jim Jordan say that they are efforting 4 bills this week, appropriations bills this week, to get through. That would partially fund the government. The defense bill as well. You wanted the defense bill to move forward. Did you not?
Yes, that's why I voted for it, and I voted for the rule to proceed onto it. And by the way, don't give Kevin McCarthy credit for the fact that we're moving on to these 4 appropriations bills. That was the deal that House conservatives foisted upon Kevin McCarthy. When he couldn't just move the big spending bills without moving the bills that cut spending, we said, no, no, no. You have to move bills like the state and foreign ops bill because we don't think we should be borrowing money from China to go fund gay pride parades in Prague or LGBTQ seminars in Indonesia. We don't think that that's a good use of our money. And the only
Matt Gaetz didn't hold back. He was letting her have it, and the whole time she does her best to defend Kevin McCarthy. But by the end of the interview, you can see that she's realizing Matt Gaetz is standing his ground. Now, after this interview, Maria Bartiromo tweeted out, "You made excellent points. My thinking is evolving. I need to own it. I'm okay with that, and I'm glad you came on." This was a tweet from her to Matt Gaetz. She also tweeted out, "You are right, Matt Gaetz. You made a very good argument, and my kind of thinking is evolving." I love to hear that. Well, let me go ahead and read you a little bit about what actually happened. It says Maria Bartiromo also addressed the controversial interview and remarks of her Fox Business show Morning with Maria. Says she was rethinking her position on Matt Gaetz' willingness to risk a partial government shutdown in order to rein in government spending. Gaetz posted a video clip with the comments, "When confronted with our argument over government spending, most smart and open-minded people will convert. Welcome aboard, Maria," says Matt. "Thank you for having me on your program. Tough questions and direct answers will lead us to the truth faster than sophistry. The plan, single subject spending, no CR, no kicking it down the road for later, and hold the line." I love it. I love it. Let's watch this video clip here, folks. I also did hear that Trump is in process of making a plan of action to go after MSNBC and NBC for their for their counter-American tactics. He said it's going to be very expensive to be crooked media when he gets back in 2024. He said it will be extremely costly to be propagandist. I think he has plans to sue them or maybe even criminally charge them. He didn't go into it a whole lot on the article, but Trump has got a plan to deal with all these things that America is combating at this point, including the woke, wicked mainstream media. And he has got a heck of an idea. I can't wait. Let's go ahead and get into this. This is Maria Bartiromo's, basically her rebuttal to being so argumentative in the last video. So Kevin McCarthy-ish. And today, I guess she's eating crow and recanting her statement. I'm glad to see that. That means that she's at least open-minded enough when she hears something new that opens a new door, a new way of thinking. She's at least open-minded enough to go, hey, wait a minute. I never thought about it like that. And then you grow as a person because you now have more choices, more options to think about. And that's absolutely necessary for everybody that's not red-pilled yet, and for everybody that's not on Team Trump yet. And as far as Team Kevin McCarthy, no, he's a tool. He's always been a tool. We need to treat him like a tool, use him like a tool, because in reality, he's not that great a tool. But at this point, because of his position, it is necessary to deal with him. Hopefully, we can get Matt Gaetz to put him in a headlock, figuratively, and get some more crap done. Like Matt Gaetz says, if you don't hold Kevin McCarthy's feet to the fire, he won't do nothing. And I'm starting to see that. Over 9 months, Kevin McCarthy's promised J6 footage and closing the border and hold out on spending, and I don't think he's done any of the above, to be honest. Let's go ahead and get into it, folks.
Welcome back. Now a word about my interview yesterday with Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who joined me to discuss the budget battle. Democracy is messy. Matt Gaetz is an important voice in the process. House leadership, Speaker Kevin McCarthy, is also an important voice in the process. My show, Sunday Morning Futures, is an important part of the process because we are searching for truth and always will. Our platform matters. I tried yesterday to lay out the issues around the budget battle. Congressman Gaetz' attacks on the Speaker and the GOP's reaction to Joe Biden's bad policies. In a nutshell, Matt Gaetz said we should have separate single-subject spending bills. McCarthy is also pushing to get individual subject bills through, but collectively those bills add up to the same spending number that we were spending at the top of the COVID emergency. Matt Gaetz is pushing for individual bills to come in with a cut in spending year over year. The way to fix this is to give all of those bills a major haircut. The problem is we knew this date was coming. Why weren't these bills done before this week? I still questioned why Republicans can't get on the same page. Why move to a government shutdown and attack the Speaker of the House, blow up the House effectively, undermining the work that they've already done? But Congressman Gaetz came back saying we can't govern the way we have in the past. We are spending $7 trillion a year, but we're taking in just $5 trillion. The spending must be cut. He also questioned how serious Republicans are about investigating Joe Biden when, in fact, we still have yet to see a subpoena of Hunter Biden. Good point. I'm very proud of the interviews conducted. This Sunday, I posed the right questions, tough questions, to Matt Gaetz, who took on those questions and answered them with practical ideas. He did well, as did my other guests, Jim Jordan, Mark Levin, Mike Lee, and Larry Elder. My priority was to give Matt Gaetz a fair shot. He's calling for action from Speaker McCarthy. He didn't seem to care if the government shut down or not. After all, this is the government, by the way, who gave the IRS bullets, and the government which has been weaponized against American citizens. Governments shut down all the time. In fact, Mark Levin told me that in the 8 years that he worked for the Reagan administration, the government shut down 6 times. So what?
I think we ought to fight on all fronts. I think the border is very important. And the best way for us to advance the Republican border policies is to pass the Department of Homeland Security Appropriations Bill, do that along with veterans, defense, ag, state and foreign ops. We'll have 73% of the discretionary budget funded. And if, the Department of Labor and Education have to shut down for a few days as we get their appropriations in line, that's certainly not something that is optimal. But I think it's better than continuing on the current path we are to America's financial ruin.
Absolutely.
Yes, it may seem like chaos at the end of the day, but lawmakers are trying to stop the Democrats' wild spending, which has caused massive inflation. Some have specific priorities, such as no more money to government agencies who turn their ire against their political enemies, like Jack Smith's investigation into President Trump. Others want to stop the money sent to Ukraine until the U.S. border is secure. And most want to ensure the Department of Defense is funded in a more dangerous world, again, in the face of Biden's foreign policy. Democracy is messy. Yeah, I understand your point, and that's the point I was trying to make yesterday when I spoke with Matt Gaetz. Why blow up the wins and the victories that we've seen so far in the GOP? Why attack the speaker? But at the same time, my thinking is evolving here. I don't know that a government shutdown is all that big of a deal, actually. If they can get 4 appropriations bills done this week, or 3 appropriations bills done this week, which of course is a high order, we could actually see a majority of the government funded. After all, the DOD budget is $826 billion. That's a huge portion of the discretionary spending right there, 70% or so. So if you could get the bulk of these bills that they're talking about funded this week, you actually could talk about just a partial government shutdown. Mark Levin joined me yesterday and said during his 8 years in the Reagan administration, actually the government shut down 6 times. And so, we'll see. The problem, Mark Tepper, is that everybody has their own priorities. One priority, and I think this is a really important question to ask, why have we sent $113 billion to the Ukraine border, and we haven't sent a dime to our own border?
I think people are beginning to wake up to the fact that the government spends money erratically, and that they're not doing a good job of really maintaining their own purse.
Yeah, and that is why Matt Gaetz, Florida congressman, wants to do single spending bills. And that is the question that keeps.
It's the only way to do a balanced budget of any kind is to take each individual bill, pick them apart, pull the waste and gross spending out of it that's unnecessary, trim it down, clean it up, and then vote on it and see if you can live with the cuts out of it. But like paying for another FBI or our FBI building, CIA headquarters, no, I would not be giving any of these 3-lettered agencies $1, especially the border, unless we can get our border closed. I would tell them, we'll do a government shutdown until our border's closed. That would be me. I would say, let's just close it all down. Our border's wide open. What do we need government for anyway at this point if they're not willing to do their effing job? That's just how I feel about it, folks. But I had one more little tweet here I wanted to read you before I jumped out of here. I just thought I'd give y'all a little more information. It says Maria Bartiromo tweeted out. It says, you are right, Matt Gaetz. You made very good arguments. And like I said, my thinking is evolving. And she was happy to have him on. And Representative Dan Bishop weighed in, said, this is the best interview I have ever seen. The ad hominem attacks at Matt Gaetz will undoubtedly persist, but his every point was perfectly stated and utterly inarguable. Let's see the rational rebuttal. Maria is usually the one of the best, but she could only sputter. That's how it went down, folks. But for the most part, Matt Gaetz, not just red-pilled Maria Bartiromo because she's conservative, but he got her to thinking, Kevin McCarthy's not your friend. There's always a better way. And if you always go with the uniparty way of doing it, let's just lump it all together and force everybody to vote yes or no on it. That's the way they get away with every spending package. And Matt Gaetz says, you promised us otherwise, and I'm not taking it. We're not going to take it. We're not doing it your way this time, Kevin. And guess what, folks? We've already got 4 appropriation bills in the work instead of 1 omnibus bill and 12 appropriations in it. So it is obviously working, folks. Matt Gaetz has done wonders to help save our country in the last year, including fighting Kevin McCarthy, forcing Kevin McCarthy to make promises that now Matt Gaetz is trying to make him pay good on. Glad to see it, folks. There's no coward in Matt Gaetz, that's a fact. Kevin McCarthy, though, I just must say, I believe he's just a little weak-kneed at this point. I think he's got too many big donors and lobbyists that try to continue to keep him neutral. It's always the best policy if you're in power, and you want to stay in power. Make everybody happy, in theory. Not going to work out for Kevin that way, though. He won't get 2 terms as Speaker, and he may not even make it a full term as Speaker at the rate he's going. Matt Gaetz will throw him up on the chopping block over the next argument, and you know what? I'm okay with that. Hope everybody enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and share. Everybody have a great day. Over and out.